You're listening to the Metal Command Podcast.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to the Metal Command Podcast. Tony here with you. And today I am here to talk to all of you about something a lot of you have been messaging me about, and that is 4 members of Primal Fear quitting the band. I've received a lot of messages, especially on Facebook, about this. What do I think? Why would something like this happen? And do I know anything about what happened? So let me address all this stuff. Normally, this would be something I would ignore because this seems more routine to me with things that happen in the music business. But upon looking at the messages and then looking at a lot of the comments people are making on social media, I don't think a lot of you out there know how this works. Now, if you're a music industry guy, what I'm going to talk about really isn't anything new for you. And this video is probably not really going to educate you on anything that you already don't know. However, I'm going to talk about it and address it and answer all of your questions from the people that have been messaging me. So before I get into that, please support the show. If you like what you see and hear on this podcast, hit subscribe here on YouTube. Hit the little bell to be notified anytime I do post a video. Like the video, share the video, leave a comment. What do you think about this situation, which I'm about to explain to you now? So obviously 4 guys quit. Matt Sinner, Ralf Scheepers obviously are still with the band. And they brought in Magnus Carlson as one of the replacements for the guys that left. So the guys that left, Tom Naumann, Alex Bayrout, both guitar players, and then the drummer, and then the bass player that, had been filling in for gigs and playing bass. So I have no idea what happened behind the scenes. I have no factual information. So folks, for those of you asking me, do I know anything? I know nothing. And to be honest, I treat things like this as none of my business. I don't go and ask people that know them. I don't go and message them directly to try to get information from these guys. They handle a business affair, and then 4 guys obviously quit over it. And why do I say business affair? So what I think happened is some decisions were made with the band. And these other 4 guys disagreed with it, and then they left. And folks, I can tell you when these things happen, this didn't happen overnight. This has probably been a discussion, or there have been discussions for quite some time, most likely over the business affairs of this band. And I think probably like it always is, and I'm not sure if this is the reason, but money, maybe the direction musically might have something to do with it, but mainly it's money and compensation. Maybe they're, these guys aren't getting paid as much now, or maybe the band was offering them less money. And I'm going to explain to you how all this works. Maybe they weren't going to make as much money. Maybe there weren't going to be as many gigs as they thought. I mean, it could be anything. But folks, I have no idea what happened. To me, a business decision was made. These guys parted ways. And let me also say that when they say there's no bad blood, okay, I believe that's I actually believe that's the truth. Like you're looking at these press releases, like Alex Bayrout put a press release up, essentially saying there's no bad blood. They didn't agree with decisions and he left. Ralf Scheepers has gone and went in the comments and said that, and I truly believe that. I've had very good experiences with all of these guys. So Ralf Scheepers has come on my show off and on for, probably the last 25, 26 years. Matt Sinner has been on my show multiple times. I met Matt Sinner for the first time back in 2000 when Halloween had the Dark Ride album come out. I met him at the release party at the Hamburg Dungeon. When I was running Halloween's website, he worked for Nuclear Blast, who they were signed to, and I had a lot of contact with him in the early to mid 2000s. Really super cool dude, very nice guy. And on the flip side, I've sat down in person with Tom Naumann one time, and I've had Alex Bayrout on my show, usually promoting the Voodoo Circle stuff, and sometimes obviously talking to me about Primal Fear as well. So all really cool people. And I'm really good at picking up vibes and how people are. And even though I don't know what happened behind the scenes, I just don't the feeling I have is that there's no bad blood here. I think, and we've all had those business relationships, right? Like you get these people that you've worked with, you part ways. There's really no hard feelings. It was time to part ways. I've done that many times in the past with no anger or animosity. Some people I'm still friends with. Some people we just kind of don't associate, even though there's no hostility. But the bottom line is, I don't think there's any bad blood. I just want to throw that out there. Now, let me address the situation as far as how these things work. Okay? And this is pretty much true for almost every heavy metal band out there, especially bands that have been around a very, very long time. Primal Fear has been around for over 25 years. Okay? When you look on the Facebook page, you see the profile photo of Mat and Ralf. Typically, in almost every single heavy metal band, you have one, maybe two, maybe three people that run the show. They make all the decisions, and the rest of the people in the band are pretty much hired guns. Let me give you some examples, okay? Obviously, you see Mat and Ralf. All these guys are probably hired guns. They are probably making the majority of the money. If you look at Slayer, Paul Bostaff and Gary Holt were hired guns, while Kerry King and Tom Araya, are the guys that ran the band, right? I mean, that's just basically how that works. If you look at Testament, who are the guys that run the show in Testament? It is Chuck Billy, Eric Peterson, and then the rest of the guys are hired guns. They're not going to make as much as the two guys running the show, but they are going to make money. They are going to get paid. And again, I think that this decision for these guys to leave, that could have been, the money thing may have been a big factor in it. I don't know what happened. It could be anything, but typically those are the situations that happen. It's usually a money thing. Again, want to emphasize it again and again. I have no idea if that's why these guys left Primal Fear, but in most cases, this is what happens. So essentially, you have one or two guys that run the show, and that's it. So I think that's what happened. I think a business decision was probably made by Ralf and Mat, and these guys quit. I mean, that's really what it is. No bad blood, no hard feelings. Let's part ways. Let's part ways on good terms. Let's be done with it. And I genuinely believe that is what's happened. Now, there could have been some bad blood. Who knows? Right now, nobody is making any bad comments about anybody. There's no quotes bashing anybody. It just parted ways and that's it. Okay, done. For those of you that are skeptical about this big lineup change, okay, let me say this to you. I think that bringing Magnus Carlsen in is a genius move. The guy's a phenomenal songwriter. He's a phenomenal guitar player. I think, personally, from the creative standpoint, it's going to be a very good thing for Primal Fear. So I'm excited about that aspect of it. And before anybody gets into any comments about, oh my God, Ralf and Mat are greedy, because you're going to get those. I've seen a few of those comments. Keep in mind, the music business itself is in steep decline and is really suffering from the high cost of everything. Those guys probably took a pay cut as well. I mean, because tour buses are like 4 or 5 times more expensive than they used to be. Fuel, food, everything is so much more expensive. The musicians are just probably going to make less money. Now, how much less would these hired guns be making? I don't know. But generally speaking, this is what happens. But I think the Magnus Carlsen thing is very intriguing because this is a guy that can write songs for any kind of singer in any kind of band, from prog music to straight ahead classic heavy metal music that Primal Fear makes. I think it's going to be a great thing. I honestly do. So that's kind of a brief synopsis of what I think. I gave you a very brief introduction of how a lot of these bands work. And I'm sure that there came time where they were going to renegotiate contracts with these guys, with Alex and Tom and, the drummer and bass player. And these guys just didn't want to sign on the dotted line. They just didn't like the terms of the contract. That's what I think happened. Do I know for sure? No. But that's how these situations tend to play out. And it is what it is. Alex has a new Voodoo Circle album coming out. I'm really looking forward to that. Super nice guy. Want to get him on the show. And maybe I can ask him this question. But right now, I think Primal Fear is going through some changes. For those of you that are skeptical about those changes, the fact they brought Magnus Carlsen in to me, is a phenomenal move and a great move. And I'm really eager to hear what happens as far as who the rest of the band members are going to be. And they are probably going to announce that very, very soon. So that's all I have for you, folks. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments, let me know what you think. Again, let me summarize. I think it was a business decision. Everybody parted ways on good terms. It was a mutual parting of the ways. At least that's what I think. And I'm looking forward to the next chapter in the career of Primal Fear, who I think is one of the greatest heavy metal bands of the last 25 years. So that's where I'm at. Thanks for watching. Stay metal.